I want the mint.
Dude, mint is so good.
Welcome to Dude Man Duo podcast,
Dude Man Duos.
where we drink weird yerbos and talk about anything we want to talk about.
Anything that we're passionate about, that's pretty much it. I mean,
We're gonna be dreaming today.
dude,
Are we
we're
dreaming?
dreamers, bro.
We're dreaming.
Dreamer podcast.
Just
Let's-
dreaming
hey,
episode.
Hey, come on. No, okay. My wife is going to watch this.
That's okay. She's been jealous.
So is your
for-
wife.
She's been jealous for a really long time.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
you just we gotta keep it going. Keeps the marriage life spicy when she knows that there's another, someone else trying to get on the turf. And then my wife just turns the other cheek and she's like, oh god. But yeah, we're gonna be dreaming about a specific game that's gonna come out in probably 20 years from now.
If you're a gamer, you already know about it, so it's nothing new.
Well,
But
maybe.
typically.
We're talking about the Riot MMO.
Riot MMO.
Or supposedly MMO.
They've been working on.
Yeah, and apparently it's going to be out before 2028 is what the grapevine's
That's
telling
pretty
us.
exciting.
Yeah, it's only like 2.5 years away.
So as much as it was a bummer to hear from Riot that they were delaying because they were like, we don't want to make just any MMO, and we decided to like shift course. As much as that was a bummer, I'm also excited about that because I know they're really putting a lot of effort into it, and I'm excited to see what they come up with because, I mean, they're a great gaming studio. You cannot argue.
They are great. They have their flaws like everyone does, but they were going down a road apparently that was looking very reminiscent of other MMOs, and they were realizing that everyone wanted something different, and they had the ability to say, hey, we wasted all this money, we don't care, we're trying to make a good game. That just shows that they're putting a lot of effort and care into it. So it makes me kind of more excited that it got delayed, because if they're willing to do something like that, then it's going to be pretty good. If they don't like it, they're going to scratch it.
When I hear something like that, that tells me that it's not just a money grab.
Yeah.
For a company, because if it was a money grab, they probably would have just said, we're just going to put it out because we're going to make, it's like delaying it that many years.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think, Riot doesn't really have a track record with like money grabbing. I mean, they have like some really expensive cosmetics with $100 like Ari
some
skins.
of those ridiculous skins,
but they're completely like not mandatory.
Yeah,
so it's like
not pay to win. Though.
People buy them, so you can get mad at whales all day long.
So here's my bad take. All right, I am totally fine with a company having things like that for people that have a lot of money, because those people that have a lot of money will spend on it, and then that money that is spent goes towards game development.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's fine if it's like a random cosmetic. I mean, it's expensive. Yeah. It kind of sucks that I'm not going to get it, but I mean, there's so many. I don't care. Yeah. There's like 20 Ari skins, and then one came out that's $100. Right. Well, rich people will buy it, and it's going to make the game better.
It's interesting finances. It's interesting to me that people will make fun of people that are buying those skins, when those people buying those skins are literally supporting the game they love.
Well, it's also like, if they have the money to do so, people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's my only caveat to this discussion.
Some parent's credit card has probably been suffering a little bit.
But that tells you the mental state of the person. If they're spending that much money on something that they shouldn't be spending, that's not good.
Yeah. It doesn't actually bother me. A lot of people complain about it, and I'm like, there's so many skins. Like, I mean, like, it's a free game. It's been free since 2009, and like, it's one of the biggest games, and they're trying to make money. Cosmetics is the one thing they can go ham on. Most of their skins are like $10, and then like they have one, or maybe I think they have a couple now. That's like a thing they're doing. But it's like, if you can't get the skin, deal with it. Like, I mean, it's not like your life's over.
Monetization is an interesting thing for a game that's ongoing. You have to be able to make money with the game as a company to keep working on the game. So I like Riot's structure of having a free game. I like Riot's structure that nothing you can buy gives you an advantage in game.
Yeah, it's all cosmetic.
Now, going to an MMO though, there's some interesting caveats to that structure, because I think one of the best things in an MMO is when the gear you're wearing is gear that you've achieved.
I hope they don't go down the whole modern. So like I hope they don't go down, at least in the initial transmoggy type feel, because it's just it takes away, like there's something cool about grabbing your gear and equipping it and it looking awesome. That's one thing I miss about like old World of Warcraft, right? So nowadays there's so many sets and you transmog and it's cool for the game now, but like there was something at the time where you couldn't transmog, and whatever you wore, like you showed off where you got it. I hope there's that element in this MMO, because that's something that's lacking nowadays, and I just miss it.
Because I've kind of flip-flopped on this. For a while, I was actually like, I did kind of like being able to like buy a super sweet looking skin. Like Path of Exile.
That's different.
You know, I kind of like that in Path of Exile, but also there's a part of me that doesn't.
Well, it's like...
I'm like waffling.
It depends on the game. Because like Path of Exile is technically a free game. It's going to be free when it releases. It's in early access right now, so obviously you paid for the early access. Yeah. But it's going to be free when it launches. And it's just, you know, them trying to pay for the game and make it as good as possible. And if you want to spend $20, $30 on a cosmetic because you like their game, like go for it. You know, but you don't need it. You don't need it at all.
But here's my concern with the Riot MMO. If they go the same route as League of Legends,
no, please no.
Is the coolest looking gear is going to be what you swiped your credit card on.
Well, that's what we're here for, to tell them, please don't do that, please.
So how do we tell them what? Not that they're going to listen, but how do they? What kind of structure do they have monetization wise that allows you to have a non-pay-to-win game, but is able to still make money for the company to keep it
there's
running?
multiple options. There's the classic, I think they should pay for the game. I think you should pay the $60, or, well, I guess it's more expensive now, like for a flat cost of the game.
RuneScape version.
RuneScape version.
Meaning, not RuneScape
membership?
3. Portion of the game is free. A portion of it, like RuneScape.
Oh.
Right? So
become a membership?
The barrier to entry is low.
Free trial.
You get in. There's certain things that are available for free, but from there, either a one-time purchase. I kind of lend towards the one-time purchase as opposed to the monthly subscription.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
It's hard to say. There's something to the subscription that just makes the game consistent. But I do agree buying it once feels really good, but it's always hard with a game that has to do consistent updates, right? Because World of Warcraft, number one, you had to pay for the expansion and you had to pay monthly. I'm not saying I like that, but when you're having a game that's this big, it needs to be able to bring revenue and a good amount. And if we don't want cosmetics to be diluted, which is honestly like a small thing to ask versus kind of like paying monthly and doing a main purchase. But it does kind of affect some parts of the game. So it's hard to say what would be the best route to do it.
Here's something that I didn't mind in, let's say, like Lost Ark. I didn't mind having a monthly subscription that was pay for convenience, as long as it doesn't bleed over into pay to win.
I don't think there should be any element of pay to win in an MMO ever.
Correct.
Because it's just a phone game and it's going to trash. I don't think Riot's dumb enough to do that. Like,
right. But what I'm saying is, like, if there's an element of pay for convenience, that if you do the subscription, you get access to things that are desirable, that are only convenient and has nothing to do with...
Yeah,
know what I mean?
They could do, like, the classic, like, more bag space, more, tabbing, like bank tabs.
Like, I don't mind what PoE does and where you can buy stash tabs.
Yeah, no, that's not bad. That's a great way to do it, because you don't need it. But it's cheap enough to where it makes it convenient. If you play the game, you're going to spend $5, $10 on stash packs. No one cares. You like the game. If you're not willing to put any money into a game you like, then you're kind of on the wrong. Like, these people are putting time in. They need to get paid. You want to... Gaming is one of the cheapest hobbies out there.
It really is.
So it's like complaining about having to spend $20 on something you don't need that you kind of want is kind of ridiculous, in my opinion.
Sure. Well, and especially when you think about other hobbies like...
Snowboarding.
I love snowboarding.
Season pass,
but the barrier to entry to that, if you're buying your own gear, is expensive. Plus like you were saying, the season pass, or the lift tickets or whatever.
You can argue that you have to buy computers and stuff like that too. But
there's ways to do it a lot cheaper.
And your computer lasts like 5 years usually plus. So it's like it's not an issue, I don't think. I think gaming is extremely cheap, which is the big allure to it.
Yep, it's a pretty cheap and easily accessible hobby.
Yeah,
that can actually be beneficial for you if you do it in a reasonable
manner. It is hard to get the how they're gonna get the money in. Like I really hope it's not cosmetics because, like I said, I do think it affects the drive for
really
gear for me.
Because I agree. I love being a little bit vain in a video game and being like,
awesome.
Look at this piece of gear
that I found,
that I got. It looks dope, and then people are like, oh, dude, where did you get that gear? And you're like, let me tell you.
That's such an that's also like brings like people together a little bit. Like, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, I can take you, dude. You know, because like there's tons of little things like that. When everything is so microtransactioned, everyone's like, oh, I'm just gonna pay this guy, get this gear, pay money for the game company. Now there's no community. It takes away community anyway. Just a small element of it, but I do think it would do that.
My hope is that the Riot MMO does a monetization structure that has no cosmetics, but has like a free a free version of the game that is very limited, so people can try it out and try it for free, so that there's a lower barrier. But then they have this, if you want the full game, maybe you buy the full game.
Yeah, I think
a $40 purchase for the full game, and then maybe there's a subscription that is only convenience, like maybe there's player housing and
cosmetic stuff there.
Maybe you could get some cosmetic stuff for your player housing, or you get access to like different areas. I don't know.
Well, there's like we'll go back to PoE 2 or PoE is they have such a good monetization strategy because there's so many things that you buy on that game that's not necessary, like footprints when you walk, a backpack thing. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go into that route, but like even for their hideouts, like tons of cosmetics for the hideouts and portals.
I just
tons of stuff like that.
Just don't want it to be gear.
I don't want it to be gear at all. Like I don't.
No gear.
Maybe like some particle stuff. Maybe look up. Or you know what? Actually, what I really like about PoE that would be good in like this is like skill animation changes. I love that in PoE. Like you can purchase a skill that's like
a custom.
Like it looks different. Bad. Like you have a gear, you have like a red gear, and you're like a lightning or whatever, but you can turn your lightning red, or like like something like that. We can buy like little packages for like $5-10 for like a cosmetic skill change. That would be cool because that doesn't make you look any less like your aesthetic looks great.
Your gear is still things you accomplished, but there's some effects around it with your skills. I can see that.
That's cool. Also, you could do like, honestly, like I just thought of this off the whim. It may not be cool, but like almost like a layout aesthetic change where you can like change the way your UI looks or something. Yeah. Like imagine like you're like,
that's cool.
I want like this cool.
That'd be pretty hyped for streamers too.
Yeah. Imagine like because they have like the Dark Star skins or something. You can have a season where they release a Dark Star like UI, or they could have like a project UI. Something like that doesn't affect the game, but people enjoy, and you're gonna see it all the time. So it's not it's not a waste of money if you're always looking at those cool. It can even have like cool moving effects or whatever.
Absolutely,
that would be a good way to kind of get some extra revenue in there.
If they do that something like that, I would spend copious amounts of hours trying to get the coolest looking gear, because that I am willing.
Match.
I am so willing to do that.
It would be cool. Like I mean, like that kind of stuff. As long as it's not like crazy expensive, it's like $10 for like a skin, or $20 max. You know, nothing more than that. Because it does take effort for them to make that stuff, but I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to do like UI changes, because it would just be like kind of like an overlay.
I just, as much as their skins in League of Legends have been epic, I just really, like I said, I'm just hoping they're not going that route with the MMO, because I can envision some really amazing cosmetics that you can get from certain things.
Yeah, dude. Like, so they can have so many raids. They can have so many raids and dungeons that are, because they have so many skin sets. Excuse me.
Like the Freljord, you could have some really awesome, and each different area has its own like cosmetic type. Like there's the Desert Shurima type with the gold, and and there's the the Freljord cosmetic, like the Viking furry winter fur. I feel like they have to have that, but that's baseline gear that you're gonna probably get from questing in those areas. I'm thinking like dungeon stuff, where when you get in the dungeons, that's when you start getting into like the skin, because like I said, they have Project, they have Dark Star, they have, and they could have, like you're saying, they could have dungeons with that theme.
Yep.
And if you're able to get certain gear with that is like a project gear. People can see immediately he got that from that dungeon, from that boss.
That'd be sick. Imagine if they did like a Targon thing. You know, Targon's the big mountain of like the cosmic coast or the cosmos, whatever.
Yeah.
If there's like a random dungeon generator, or you know, like maybe like some sort of random encounter that can put you into different like realms, like different like universes. So you have like the project universe is one of those options that came out in one expansion. Like I said, we'll go back to the Dark Star. You go back into you know there's so many. I'm spacing on. There's an infinite amount of skin.
Sure.
You know, but you can like go and then that's a dungeon that fits that aesthetic, and there's sets of gear there.
You know, it'd be sick.
What
is if the boss had on the gear that you could get from him.
Go OG on him.
So you could visually see, I could potentially get that sword.
That would be hard though, because then you also have to run into the issue of like almost every mob or boss has to be like a humanoid. So like, because you can't have like a dragon or something wear gear, right? So like,
so what if I see your point.
I think I don't.
What if like the dragons? Yeah.
Well, I mean, like you can have something like that sometimes. Like there's like, you know, a boss that drops whatever he's wearing. That's cool. But I mean, like I do think you kind of build yourself into a corner if you kind of do that, because then people just expect it. It would be kind of cool to see something like
maybe
a
if
human.
you had some of that in there.
Yeah, something like that.
But it wouldn't be applicable to every single boss, though.
Yeah, they could have like something that does that. But I mean, I definitely think it fitting the aesthetic would be really cool. And it would make it like always fresh, because if you do like a time travel, not a time travel, but just like I said, different realms, different universe, almost like Marvel has like its main branch, and then there's like little avenues that go separate. Like I said, that's what League kind of does with like their skins. It's like a different universe that that could be like a cool infinite tower system that they could have and maybe that's just cosmetic though. Maybe that wouldn't be where gear comes from, cool. But you can get like skin sets for doing that. They can maybe drop gear too. But.
I love that idea. Cause I like an MMO that has some solo challenges or group challenges that are not always
cosmetic.
Yeah, like a tower, like in Lost Ark. Again, I loved that tower system. Get harder, but you felt accomplished, and you could win some really cool, you know, cosmetics or gear or whatever.
It could be like I think it should be mostly random if they do that. Like I said, in Targon, it's kind of set perfectly for it because it goes to the cosmos, and then like different like universes coming there kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So like imagine like you go in there and then it could be randomly generated. I mean, that would make it cooler in a way. People probably get annoyed because people love to min-max, farm, whatever. But there's something cool about getting a random one and like, oh, I got this piece from this one. People are always super picky, and I think people need to kind of let loose a little bit and just enjoy the randomness. But like going in there, maybe there's a currency for the season or something that you get from there. So you're getting progression, like, you know, kind of like in World of Warcraft when you would get like, you know, PvP, or you would do the raids that you drop those like medallions or something. There could be rare drops that give you tier sets, or like something like that at the end, but you get cosmetics as a reward from there, so you can make your guy look cool. You're getting cosmetics through the game instead of purchasing for it.
Yeah.
And it would just allow them to bring in so many skins. Every new season, new expansion comes out. There's new dungeons, or their dungeons rotate or something like that. Cool. That would be a sick idea.
Now, going into beyond cosmetics, what do you think? What would be our hope for the structure of it?
What do you mean by structure? Like,
so the system. So, for instance, if we're comparing popular MMOs, the RuneScape system compared to the World of Warcraft system,
combat or
skills. So, skills, like you know, 0 to 99 type skills, or the World of Warcraft
ability stuff,
where each season you kind of start fresh again and you work your way up to get more powerful gear every time. What would be your ideal on that? Or is there a way to have a combination of both? Or maybe Riot's working on this. Maybe there's a completely different system that we're not even aware of.
Yeah, it's
that
hard.
They're working on.
It's hard to talk about systems with it when we know nothing. What we would prefer is different. I do like the RuneScape element. But one of the problems with the RuneScape element, the leveling each system is really cool, and it's because you have one character and it doesn't feel like you get erased. There's a lot of benefit to that with the grinding and stuff, but there's also a little bit of negatives to where when a new season comes out, it's not as exciting for some new stuff. There's ways to probably alleviate that by adding new systems, but I would probably maybe want like a hybrid or something where you have like non-combat abilities to level up as that extra. You know, like if you're doing a home system and you can do like the wood cutting or, you know, something like that. But combat systems based off of maybe factions or something like that is kind of what I thought originally. Like if you join Demacia, like there's certain elements of Demacia. There could be tons of builds while being a Demacian, but it's kind of more Demacian themed. Noxus has a theme. You know, Piltover. You know, they all have like maybe classes and themes attached to more faction based. I thought that could be interesting. It's different because we always have World of Warcraft as a faction, but it's nothing ability based. It's only just, you know, for PvP elements, right? Horde and Alliance.
Right.
But like being able to, instead of build your class per se, you're picking your faction as your class, because in League of Legends the factions are your home. It's not just like,
so you could do
a zone.
Ionian, Demacian, like Shuriman,
Yeah, that would
like
be
all these different.
You can pick one, and that's
You
like your
pick
home
one,
faction.
and then that's your faction.
It would be cool, and
That'd be cool.
And they could make it kind of like WoW, where there's like an Alliance and Horde ish, where like Noxus, Shurima, maybe Freljord, some of these certain.
Some of them are neutral, some of them are enemies, some of them are allies. Maybe.
Well, no, yeah, some of them are just neutral in general, but like maybe like you get benefit. There's like, I guess you probably don't want a black and white, like a good and a bad. I think having multiple would be cool. But like I said, you start as the game and you get to pick which faction you want to come out. And it's not that you have to always be there, but like you start there and that's your subclass of it. Like they have like each faction has like a warrior, magic, range, or assassin.
So
type.
now you do the combat system similar to World of Warcraft in that you build your build based on your faction, and then the next season comes out and what?
I mean,
so what's the continuation?
Could be tons of stuff.
Yeah.
It could be start going into ARPG stuff where you start getting cool tier sets and cool items that affect your abilities and make them do. That would be cool to see in an MMO, because
your idea of having the non-combat be persistent, like RuneScape, I think that's great because
they have something to do outside of combat,
and it's persistent.
Yeah,
like I'm level 99, whatever the max is, crafting.
Yep.
A new season comes out, and you're able to like, you know, craft some awesome gear.
Maybe the levels go up slowly or something too, or you have to complete a quest when a new season comes out.
Speaking
you have to
of
be
quests.
Epic quests.
Epic quests.
None
RuneScape style quests.
None of this going around killing 30 sheep and killing goblins. I mean, there could be some filler stuff like that.
So burnt out on World of Warcraft repetitive, empty quest lines.
Give me like a quest line if I'm a Demacian where I have to go infiltrate Noxus, and it's a crazy quest line, and it takes me like 6 hours to complete, but it's in depth and there's a story there, and the rewards are great, and it's fun and immersive.
Because RuneScape had it nailed.
Yeah, they had
with
some
quest
great
lines.
quests. Yeah,
they've got some great unique quest lines, and you know, in order to get this gear and to do this quest to get this gear, you had to do all these other quests first that were optional. You didn't have to do them, but you wanted to, because you wanted to get that pinnacle piece of gear,
and it was
you
fun,
could show it off to everybody.
Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, RuneScape had some fun quests and some not. Imagine if Riot was able to get like these quest lines are like a mini single player game, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, you could do it in a group because it's the same, you know, it's the same probably talk box, or, you know, you get some cinematics in there and you can do it group based, but it's like long. Like they have hours of content for this quest line, and when you finish it, it adds to the storyline. And then there's like, but they're not necessarily all required. Yeah, it's kind of like an Oblivion mix of MMO where you go in and you can make your own destiny. You can skip this stuff, but the benefits are there too. So it just makes you control your character. They can add elements of Baldur's Gate in there like that, and like
and those elements would be evergreen elements that would stick through all the expansions.
Yep.
Because that one quest line, way back in the beginning of the game, later on, all these different expansions have happened. One quest line will still get you the thing that you can, you know, I don't know, do X, Y, or Z and have this. You know what I mean? It's like evergreen content that when you're kind of tired of the current dungeons, if we're, you know, assuming they're gonna have dungeons and raids,
they probably
you
will.
can still go in and do this other kind of like Blizzard transmog runs, except way more in depth and fun.
Yeah,
because Blizzard transmog runs were fun because you were trying to get certain transmogs, but they would get really old real quick. You know what I mean? And so, if you were able to have these quest lines that remained meaningful regardless of what expansion you were in, that'd be epic.
Yeah, because I wonder what the progression would be that, because it would have to be some reason you'd want to do it later. You're like, oh, this is just giving me a level 20 gear or something. Maybe, I don't know about if it should scale. I don't know if scaling is the word.
I don't think it should give you a certain level of a gear. I think it should give you
maybe like abilities or like
like in RuneScape with prayer. Like doing a certain quest line would unlock a certain type of prayer abilities.
Oh yeah.
That you don't need, but they were very helpful.
But I mean, it would be kind of cool too, as if like thematically they can try to figure this out too, where if you do finish this quest line, like I said, I'm going back into like a PoE element. Like imagine an MMO where you get your ability and then you can you can augment that ability through getting rewards from quest lines and stuff. So it's like, oh, I don't want this one, so I don't need to do this quest line. I can maybe do it later when I'm being a completionist, and maybe that can be cool for a different build, but I'm going to spend my time doing this that I think is going to benefit my build. Yeah. You know, like stuff like that. I mean, obviously there's a lot of elements to try to weed through there, but being able to instead just buff your numbers, being able to adjust your build off of like maybe faction stuff, you know, like that could be a cool idea. So like, therefore you get to go to your locations because these certain abilities or certain items that affect your build are better in this zone. So like, I got to go to Ionia now because I want to try this build out. Comboed like a Demacian Ionia ability combos. Maybe you have your main class and then you can have a subclass based off of maybe some quest line. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
That could be pretty interesting. Absolutely.
It could be completely messed up or something. I'm just trying to think of something that allows you to want to go into these areas.
I love the Slayer system. We've talked about that before. Where in RuneScape you would level up your Slayer. You would have this Slayer helmet that you crafted yourself. So you had to get your crafting level up to be able to be able to craft it. And then as you leveled up Slayer, you could augment your Slayer helmet. And Slayer helmets you wouldn't use in your normal like dungeons, and because there's more powerful gear.
Just Slayer.
But when you're doing Slayer, it was so handy because you could upgrade your Slayer helmet to actually have a teleportation charges.
Oh yeah.
So you could teleport to different Slayer locations. And so hypothetically, let's say maybe it's not Slayer, but like in the Riot MMO, maybe it was like some kind of assassin skill, or
you go in
or something like that.
Yeah.
And you were able to, as you do these quest lines and level up your assassin.
It could be a bounty system out of Bilgewater, where you go do bounties across the world, like because that's kind of like the swashbuckling like criminal mind. Yeah. So like if there's like Assassin's Guild or something there where you got to go into the world and assassinate characters, and that levels up your maybe that area, which is kind of similar to Slayer, and then you get rewards, almost like Sea of Thieves kind of with factions, where you get rewards from it. Maybe it's cosmetic.
I love that.
Maybe you get a little bit of, like I'm representing this. Maybe there could be a little bit of little buff that you're like small buffs that affect certain builds and other ones. So maybe you want to be a hunter as an assassin because you get like a little bit of a crit chance, small 2% crit chance, something like that.
And I like that. And then maybe you get certain certain abilities to be able to like augment your helmet with like a teleportation.
Like different gear.
Like things that are convenient that you don't need for the dungeon, but it sure is convenient.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of little stuff. Like, if they could implement that.
They could do like runestone stuff where if you become a master of a dungeon or something, beat it in all its difficulties or something, you can have these runestones that teleport you to the entrance, like little extra rewards. They have World of Warcraft something like that.
Yeah.
But like, runes are a big part in League of Legends, right? So like you can have elements that bring you to things that make it convenient. So a completionist, you get rewarded for being a completionist, stuff like that where you don't just beat the content and you're done. Stuff that's going to drive you. Like I said, that's why I think that infinite tower thing with the Targon could be really sick.
Yeah.
Because I could play that a long time. Be like, oh, I didn't get the run I wanted. I gotta go again. But you can still
like
get
a mini. What's it called? A roguelike or? Is that what it's called?
Roguelike.
Roguelike.
Like the Sworn?
Like Sworn.
Yeah.
So it's like a mini that like you're.
Well, that, or I was thinking like a random dungeon thing where they can make a project dungeon, aesthetics project. Several bosses, gear sets for different classes so they look cool, but they don't drop them all the time, and it's like a random occurrence. because there's, I mean, you don't have to do random. If people get mad, you can pick your own, whatever. But there's something cool about like, oh, I got the project one. Let's hopefully get the piece I'm looking for, or something like that. And then they could have, like I said, they could have a Dark Star version.
Yeah.
It could just be an accumulation, kind of like the timeless dungeons in WoW. You know how you can every season they rotate from some old dungeons. They can have them something like that where it's on a rotation from old expansions, or whatever, but you can get them for cosmetics, but they also have rewards to them, like getting, like I said, currencies for maybe newer stuff. So you get that at the end. So there's a little reward, but the cosmetics are kind of what you're there for.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I thought that would be like an infinite system. Maybe they can do something different, but that could be kind of cool. A cool way to implement dungeons that don't fit the universe, because they have future stuff in League that won't match the actual lore of League of Legends, but it would allow them to get into that because you're going into a realm through a really Souls galaxy, or something like that allows you to transport in there.
Yeah,
that was just kind of my big idea.
That'd be pretty cool.
So
I like that idea.
Yeah, infinite kind of working on stuff, and then they can just bring out dungeons randomly that way. They can just like, oh, let's do this. Let's do a commando.
A rift is opening, and
yeah, they can do like every couple months they can bring out a dungeon instead of having 2 years in expansion. They can keep adding stuff. Like, okay, we're adding an extra dungeon this season, and a couple extra crazy quest lines, and you're gonna be excited about those quest lines if they give good enough rewards.
I really hope they take a lot of the good things from RuneScape, and then just have amazing Riot MMO aesthetics, cosmetics, a way better combat system than RuneScape, because that's why I don't play RuneScape anymore, is because it just feels too antiquated, the combat system and everything. So if I don't know, do you think they should do a tab target like World of Warcraft? Should they do their complete own thing? Should they do it like ARPG style combat?
I'm biased. If you want to get me the most, I've always loved the ARPG style, but I do think they probably need to do something different. I like the gameplay of like League of Legends. Like that would be fun in an MMO style for me. But that doesn't mean everyone else would want that. Tab target's really cool too, but I think WoW kind of has that locked down. I don't think they're going to do tab target. I don't want them to do action, personally, but I mean, it could still be really fun if it's done correctly. I just think the top-down style is just so enjoyable. I don't know why.
What if they mirror League of Legends?
That's what I'm saying. Like, because that's essentially ARPG League of Legends. It's Dota, and that's what it is. But it's hard to say, because if they make something that's good, I'm going to like it.
I just don't... In an MMO, I like to have... I just don't know how they would do it, but I like to have the freedom of the camera movement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I get that,
locked, but...
Yeah, because in World of Warcraft, you get that third person. They could do third person. Yeah. They could totally do third person.
It's not a deal breaker, though.
Yeah.
It's not a deal breaker. It's not like I need that. It's just like a preference.
It would be easy. I don't think they're going to go with the easy route, but I mean, they have so many cool abilities in League of Legends that they can add those to builds, and they can like you could upgrade the abilities. Like you get Garen's ultimate or something if you're a Damas, something like that, or there's tons of stuff that can be changed different. It can increase the range of it. Maybe it's an AoE spell if you get the right rune on it or something. There's tons of stuff for abilities they can do. It doesn't have to be ARPG.
Yeah.
But that would probably be my preferred at the moment. But maybe they come up with something completely new, and we're like, this is sick. Right. Because I'm not a developer.
That's kind of in my brain. I'm thinking in very like comparing RuneScape, World of Warcraft, and I just have an I bet they've got some new system that's going to be like.
Well, that's why they redid it.
Yeah.
They were probably following a certain way, and they're like, no. They're like, we need this to. They want it to be different, so it's going to be different.
And that they're looking at, and probably a lot of the developers have experience playing World of Warcraft and RuneScape because those are the most popular MMOs
for sure.
ever.
They definitely have a lot of good... I mean, I don't remember other developers, but I think they have some developers from old school World of Warcraft and stuff like that come over. One thing I think would be kind of cool and like make it really unique is what if they made like a town hub or something where it's like you can go in and you can play the other games. Like you're inside of the game and you can go play like a Hearthstone game inside of... Well, no, not Hearthstone, but I mean the Rift
Riot's version of Hearthstone, whatever that's called. What is that
Rift,
called?
that one didn't work out. But I mean like Arena or something. Like you can go to the Arena and then you can go play Arena. Where like your friends are online. You're like, do you want to do Arena game real fast? Instead of getting out of the game, they have a way of integrating the game into the MMO.
What if you could do Arena with your character?
That would be Yeah, that could be cool. That'd be cool. They could add stuff like that because it's like you and your buddy are going playing Arena, and it's like it adds it's like the PvP in like World of Warcraft, but the format's already there in the 2s. Because
that'd be a fun element to do PvP.
What if you
take your character into like you could even do ARAM, right?
Or you could do even just normal League game with your character.
But with your character,
and you're killing minions and doing that, because that could be like
that's crazy.
That could be cool, but that's just a mini game in the game. Imagine having a game where all the games are involved in it. That would be huge, but that could be sick.
You can dream, right?
Yeah,
we're dreaming.
We're
dreamers.
Yeah, they could have tons of stuff in there. You could have even a little mode where you want to play a TFT game, and they could, I don't know, just like having little fun stuff like that when you're like kind of bored, or that's the end game stuff. Like, oh, let's play a 2s match, or something like that.
I hope that they have a form of player housing that makes you want to invest in it, because I've played some games where player housing is like completely, what's the point?
Yeah.
But other games, like, again, going back to RuneScape, if you level up your construction,
you build
there's a lot of good benefits.
Yeah.
Things you don't necessarily need, but you want because it's beneficial and convenient.
Yeah.
I would love to have an element of that in the Riot MMO, because, again, I don't know why. Maybe it's just vanity, but I like to like show off and be like, yo, guys, I've got in my house, I've got a poker room where we can play poker in.
You can actually have poker.
Riot, but you can bet the in-game currency to get, you know what I mean? And you can play with each other.
That's called gambling, and it's illegal.
But it's not real money.
It doesn't matter.
It's game money.
I don't know if that matters or not. If it's not real money, maybe it doesn't.
It's not
matter.
real money. It's just like, but it's something fun you can do with your friends.
No, for sure. The idea of like just going all in your own house where you can do whatever you want. Like I said, maybe that's what you do your elements of going into 2s, or like loading up there. You can have an arena. You can build an arena. And it looks cool, and then you go into it. What they could do is maybe they have like a sandbox thing where in each zone you can buy a house. So if you want to buy a Demacian house, or an area in Demacia that has an aesthetic, and then you can build it from there. But I mean, like each zone, maybe they all have their own.
And if you're just able to make the player housing to where it's like there's benefits to it, and you're able to like, hey guys, everybody come to my house because I've got X, Y, and Z that I've worked on, and we can do this whatever, and then get, you know what I mean? Like I like that kind of thing where you're like, let's meet at one of our houses, because like that is one thing that Lost Ark had, was like, if you leveled up your in-game housing thing, with your cooking, you could get a party-wide buff.
Yeah, I just hated the housing in Lost Ark.
I agree. I totally agree with that. But the idea of like, hey, before we go and do this dungeon, I've leveled up my housing to the point where my kitchen is awesome. Let's
go cook. Let's break bread,
get some party buffs, and then go.
I like that.
You know what I mean? I like that.
I think that's more RuneScape-y. I like the idea of like, because RuneScape housing was probably the best housing. One of the best housing.
Yeah.
So like you could have people instead of player housing, they could also do guild housing.
Oh, I love that.
Because I mean, like, obviously, I mean, there might be some caveats. I mean, I have to give like the guild leader has to give certain people permissions to build and change stuff. But like for us, we'd have like 5 guys playing, and we'd all have permission to do whatever we want. And then like, you're the blacksmith, so you get a blacksmithing area, and then you build that, and then like that would be cool. That would be sick. And they could element it like Orin style for like, in order to be a blacksmith, you need to be like connected to Orin. And like
Dude, that'd be sweet
for like wood cutting. I mean, or something like
dude,
crafting.
maybe you would specialize in certain crafting things.
Yeah.
Where if you specialize in something you couldn't do, like you're just hypothetically.
You pick one.
If you specialize in blacksmithing, there's this quest line, multiple quest lines with Orin.
Yeah.
But you don't have access to like say cooking or something. I don't know.
It would be less. I think you should be able to do everything, but there could be specialties in each, right? So like, and there's so many like elements to this because there's skins for it. Like if you're doing cooking, there could be like a Morgana cooking, because Morgana has a cooking skin, right? And there could be like another. They can do whatever they want with it, but there's probably another character that has a cooking skin, and you can like pick different factions. They have benefits and pros and cons, and like Orin can be one builder, and then you can have Heimerdinger be another builder, and you like different styles that have different buffs.
Yeah. So and there are different types of buildings.
Sub-factions.
Like Heimerdinger's using more of the hex tech kind of technology stuff, whereas Orin is using this ancient mystical
Yeah,
Yeah.
more fantasy,
It could
less
even just be
futuristic.
cosmetic. Just like the stuff you build is more given
Maybe.
to that type of cosmetic.
Well, they could be different things where like Heimerdinger could be like more of like a gadgety, like consumable type engineering. Like in World of Warcraft, there's different factions of engineering, similar to that. And then like Orin would be more of like crafting your gear. Like you get a piece of gear and he can give you an extra stat on your gear. You know, like so Orin's really strong, but you only need one in your guild because you go to your guild and be like, hey. Or even you don't even need a person. The person who crafted and leveled up Ornn made his own guild hut that you can go in and upgrade your own gear, but you needed someone to make that.
Yeah.
So therefore you just go in and use it, and now Ornn can buff your gear because this guy created this area and he's max leveled. And then like, you know, there's a Heimerdinger section. Yeah. But you have that allows people to pick one and then it's beneficial. You know, but I mean that could be cool. Pro or con too.
I never really liked World of Warcraft's crafting system though.
No, I didn't like the crafting
It felt
system.
very unsatisfactory.
It was good in the back in the day because the amount of numbers were so small that when you leveled up something and the enchants or whatever on your gear felt really impactful. Nowadays, like you just buy them from the auction house. You don't even need to do them. They're all on scrolls. There's like I don't want this game to be streamlined where everything is as convenient as possible.
Right.
I think the best way to go with the MMO, at least in the beginning, hopefully forever, is just make a game where you can stay in it forever or like a long time. They're gonna keep coming back. Look at RuneScape; it's still going. It's been going on forever.
Yep.
If they can get an element to where people get in and there's always something to do.
Yep.
You know.
I love the idea that you brought up with the guilds because that gives multiple people like things they can work towards that benefits all of us. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that actually, if Sea of Thieves had something like that where you could, because they brought in guilds, but
they just
it was
flag
lame.
And money.
It was lame. Yeah. If they had like a harbor, like a pirate harbor that was only for your guild that you would start the game in, and you could in game work towards getting things that would benefit your harbor.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And you could even get like your own like tavern with like, you know, whatever, like just the things that you'd be like, oh guys, let's log on and try to get this for our like, and so you log into this, you know, this
island
or whatever it is, and you can get different cosmetics. And then when you're ready to like go into the Sea of Thieves, you all get on the boat, and then you like, you take the ship and you go through a portal, and then it portals you into Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
I always thought would be sick.
That'd be sick, yeah, because you used to just like, it's like signing up for PvP, you go underground. When you log in, it's your island, and then you go into the realm afterwards to a different harbor.
Yeah. That
way you can have your own personal. That's kind of cool. Well, they can do something like that with this game.
Because that's the biggest thing. I love Sea of Thieves, but I've lost most of my motivation to play because there's nothing that I really
want to do anymore.
Want to achieve.
Well,
I need things that drive me. Because like, oh, that would be sick. Let's play countless hours to get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Sea of Thieves is not that type of game. It's, I know you want it.
Because remember, you get Pirate Legend. Remember getting Pirate Legend? That was awesome.
Yeah, but you got Pirate Legend.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, it is that kind of game.
Well, it's not because you want to play forever, and it's not a forever playing game. It can be if you love the combat and the PvP so much that you just keep playing. But for you, it's not. Because there's not enough in it. Like, it's not an MMO. And what you're describing, you want it to be an MMO, is what I'm kind of hearing.
No. I just want them to start like implementing things like the guild harbor.
Oh, okay.
So that I'm motivated because I love the gameplay loop. I've been playing it enough to where I need more things to motivate me to play more of the gameplay loop.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like the Pirate Legend, that was a big enough motivator for me to play a lot of hours to become Pirate Legend.
Yeah.
That was a big motivator, right?
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I didn't play it as much as you did, so it drove you. But but I can see that just needing something to go for.
Like, yeah. So because if you like the gameplay loop enough, as long as there's things that you're trying to achieve that drive you to play the gameplay loop, I think that's a great way to play a game and design a game. And I feel like the Sea of Thieves developers, unfortunately, a lot of their seasons, they've just kind of just been flopping.
Yeah, it's hard to say with developers' brain. Are their hearts in it anymore? Did they make what they wanted and they're kind of like, let's just make a little bit of frou-frou in here? Because sometimes they might have just made the game that they wanted. I mean, like if people like sinking ships, you get on with your buddies, you can do that. and there's stuff to get. They'll add little things here and there, but it may not be meant to be any bigger than it really is. It just depends on what the developers want to do with the game, right? It's been very successful already, so that, you know, it's hard to say. Versus like an MMO, like we're talking about, needs to be able to continuously bring out content that is never ending. It's a different type of game, right? So
Yeah.
it would be cool if they did player housing for sure. It would definitely add a little bit of depth, maybe a little progression system for it.
Yeah.
Getting back to the Riot MMO, what do we think? Like, should it be an expansion based thing? Should it come out like little bits here and there, maybe seasons instead of like every 2 years a big expansion? Or they're like, hey, this is ready now. We're adding this new zone in 2 months. Be ready. That'd be kind of cool.
I think they should do it in that regard. What we're talking, that particular thing, I think should be done more like RuneScape.
Okay.
Because RuneScape still comes out with updates.
Yep.
New areas, new things, but it's not like a full expansion.
Yeah, it's
World
like
of Warcraft.
It's like a PoE update. You know, it's like a new season. It's not seasons, but like it's like, okay, Ionia is coming out in 2 months. It's almost ready. Get hype.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't have to pay for it because
Right.
you rather doing the monthly subscription, or I think they should probably make the game free, have a monthly subscription, and then some cosmetics. Not an expensive monthly, you know, like $15 or something.
Right.
Because I do think that makes the most sense. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you don't have access to, I don't know, player housing unless you have the subscription.
It shouldn't be. I don't think it should be a full free game. I mean, it's hard.
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think you should have to pay monthly for it, like WoW or something. If it's good, if you want it to be good, it needs to have the money. If they're what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So
but you should. I like RuneScape. There should be enough of the game, in my opinion. There should be enough of the game that's available to play for free to get people hooked.
Oh yeah,
and enjoying it, and then being like, I definitely want to pay for this game.
Just do the trial system. The trial system worked. Before I could afford to pay monthly for World of Warcraft, I played 30 level 20, you know, like alt accounts.
Yeah,
and those were like prime World of Warcraft for me. It was just thinking, can't wait to get past level 20. I'm so excited.
That's a great way to do it.
So it's like you get to see the game. Maybe there's
a cap. You can get the level.
Or they
20,
even have
15,
they have like a trial run where you pick. There's like a certain faction that they make you do. They give you like a space, you know, kind of like the World of Warcraft when they did the leveling system with the island. That was a new thing. Like there's a base thing. You start. It shows you the mechanics of the game. It shows you like elements of the game that are fascinating, and it could even have a trailer afterwards or something. But like it just shows you the feel of it, because you're gonna know if you like the way the combat is, you know, and stuff kind of off the rip, and you're like, this isn't my kind of game.
Yeah.
But they have a little trial. Maybe it's like a 20-30 minute run through game that they've already pre-made for people to test it out. That could be a decent way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
mounts.
I
like, going back to Lost Ark, I liked elements of Lost Ark where you could, you know, the island thing where you could get a ship and you could actually you could do these quest lines, get the thing. I don't remember what they called it, rapport with certain of the characters.
Oh yeah.
And then you could get upgrades to your ship.
Oh yeah.
And you could be faster or whatever. I would love a system like that in the Riot MMO. I don't know if it would necessarily be ships, but some kind of like mount or travel system that you could kind of show off to your buddies. Like, yeah, I got the, you know, X, Y, or Z after doing these quest lines.
Like upgraded mount
system.
Yeah.
You could even go into like the cosmetics of it, like being of a certain, like a Freljord cosmetic or whatever. But like it'd be a cool, and I don't even know what, maybe there could be a combination of different mount systems. Like maybe there are some areas like the Bilgewater area or something that you can only get to through water, and then you can work on your water mount, and then the land areas you could work on your land mounts, and then maybe there's like benefits for certain mounts in certain areas. Like if you got like a winter mount, it would like go faster in the winter Freljord areas.
That makes
I don't
sense. They could do something. Well, when I think of like fast traveling stuff, they're probably just going to do like a hex gate thing or something like that. They've already added that. So, like,
so I'm not necessarily talking about fast travel.
Yeah, but that makes the ship not really needed, right? Because you could hex gate to the Bilgewater.
So you can hex gate to an area that's maybe close to Bilgewater, but I was thinking it would be
cool.
cool.
Like it's a little extra area to go.
Right, so that would be cool if you could hex gate close to it, but then to actually get to it, you have to take a ship. I thought that'd be kind of cool.
Or to get to it, you have to go to like do like a watery thing or something. And you got to unlike. Well, there's not really much water. I mean, there's like Nami and like Fizz and stuff, but I don't think there's like an underground, like an underwater world, like a Atlantis world in it. They can maybe work on that in the future. But yeah, getting a ship or something could work. When it comes to the mount system, though, I do like your idea of like Freljord mount can go faster in the snow, or something like that. But each faction could have its own mount. And you can cosmetically change it. You can customize your mount colors and put little like trinkets on it or something.
Yep.
So
augment it so that maybe you have a desert mount, and maybe there's a way to augment it so that it's I don't know that.
Well, I mean,
that'd be fun to.
Yeah, it depends on how they do that. That could be cool. I don't know how they would implement that as much, though. I'm just trying to think of like having mounts do special things or just cosmetic. They would have to find a system that would work for that.
Yeah,
they could definitely add mounts, trinkets, and stuff to like the in-game shop.
Like maybe the base mount is something that you can get from loot.
You should get it from like
and then
reputation, I think,
or rep.
Because like you're your faction, you get your faction up a certain rep, and
that's a good idea because that motivates you to spend time in certain areas.
And you want to the most amount of benefit should probably, I mean, like just spitballing, is like most of your progress should be maxing out your main faction. So like when it comes to leveling, instead of like a necessarily like maybe they shouldn't even do like a leveling system as much of a progression through factions. Like you don't level up your character that's like with stat wise, but you level up abilities, or like you get extra bonuses for your abilities. That would be kind of interesting. So you wouldn't have an infinite crazy scaling problem where it's like, oh, third expansion in, people doing millions of damage again. It would be like all the like certain bosses have set HP bars.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to have some sort of progression. So maybe
I do think they need to do it more like RuneScape. Needs to be a little bit more evergreen in the sense that, I don't know, because RuneScape is what you could do instead of like having the need to, when they come out with new areas or new, if you want to call them expansions, whatever, instead of having everything scale up, maybe there's just
it's a linear
that
scale.
Maybe that area, the new, has some kind of like I'll just say Freljord, for instance. It's a cold area, so all your gear still works and it's still great, but there's this element of cold, and because they're in the cold, they have certain resistances. So there is certain gear that you want to get for that expansion for that area.
Okay,
but,
yeah, like gear for different things.
Yeah, but your gear overall doesn't get negated by the new expansion. It's just that new area
requires
you want different gear for that area, and then later on down the road when there's more expansions and you're still going back to that area, you go on and you equip all your gear for that area, so your gear doesn't get old. And that'd be cool in your player housing. You could show off your different gear sets, right?
I mean, for me, I don't think I like that I get what you're saying. Maybe there's a way to implement it, but my favorite thing in getting gear is I love tier set stuff.
But they can be tier sets.
Yeah, but then
right?
you'd get a new tier set for each expansion versus like instead of like you have a certain build. I think the tier set should affect your build to like, instead of like, hey, this is the new season, this is the new tier set, everything's stats are better, this is what I get. Like World of Warcraft, you have one tier set each expansion or each like raid. Right. And this one, it would be like...
But what if it was like, all the tier sets are still viable? And so you're like, oh, I think this expansion, I could maybe use this tier set, but maybe it's like...
No, that's cool.
Oh, okay.
Like each expansion can come out with new tier sets, but you don't have to use that one. What they should do, because like you like the way your build is. I'm thinking like because I see
what you mean. You don't have to use
the new tier set.
Freljord tier set.
The new Freljord tier set is there for certain builds. You're like, someone's like, I can't wait to do that build. The other person's like, I like my build. I don't want to do that. What they could do is when new areas come out, you complete the long quest chain and like certain things, and you unlock like frost resistance, and you have to beat the campaign there to get your max frost resistance. Maybe you can beat the go to dungeon without the frost resistance. It's gonna be a lot harder, but maybe you got to put the time in there to give you a little rewards of that frost resistance. I like that. Maybe runes, they can do rune systems. But I don't like the idea of because that gets into the World of Warcraft trap of new raids out. You're doing that raid. You have to get this gear because the stats are so much better, but you don't like your tier set. It's gay. Sorry. So, you don't like it, and I don't like being pigeonholed. I like the ideas like I like my build. Maybe I can play this build this whole game if I choose to. Nothing. It's all linear. Nothing goes up like this. It's like this.
Well, it's like RuneScape.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Because there's different armor sets in RuneScape, and a lot of them are viable for different options.
Yeah.
You get your ranged. I'm not saying that Riot should do it this way necessarily, but in RuneScape you have your ranged gear, you have your mage gear. You have your melee gear, and you can have melee gear that's more defensive or offensive. You can and you can have all these different sets of gear that are depending on your build style or whatever that you want. And for the Riot MMO, you have your tier sets. It'd be fun to make different builds, and they're all viable, and that's maybe. You know, a new expansion comes out and you maybe are happy with your current one, but you're like, I do want to try that new tier set out and see if I like it.
Yeah.
So you complete all the content, you try out the new tier set, and you still like the other one better, so you switch back, but it's still, you're collecting these different like gear, you know what I mean?
It would be cool if they found a way to make it to where there's not so much. So like there is like they can look aesthetically different from like a mage, warrior, assassin, whatever. What if they do the classic archetypes? Like they can have the gear the same, but it like looks different. Like everyone can equip it and it looks different based. They could do that. They could have tons of different sets, but like find a way to balance it to where like the Freljord has a certain ability that can work with melee magic, or you know, like it adds certain elements or certain effects to their abilities or something, adds to a playstyle. I don't know.
What if it just simply added some elemental damage?
I want it to be
an affix.
I want it to be build defining. I think that's the fun part about gear. Like my favorite type of gear is one of my only things about PoE that I'm not a fan of is it seems like most of the good gear is just stat stuff. Maybe you need a couple stats, you know, that's cool because you need to get your resistances and stuff, but I want as many uniques and stuff that changes my abilities.
Build defining
a bit like gear.
Because when you get that drop, you're like,
well, maybe they can do it a thing where like, you don't need like in WoW, you need like 5 pieces of a tier. Maybe you only need like 2 pieces of a tier. Or something from doing the quest, and you're like, "Oh, this unlocks this." Oh, did you know Shuriman and Freljord actually work really well together?
Yeah, so I like that.
Yeah,
because like, what if you were
combo stuff?
What if you were to make the boots and the pants be like a tier set, right? The chest and the helm, you know what I mean? Like, so you could combine the boots and the pants from one with the chest of a helm and another, or something like that.
Yeah, it could be like it could be like there's 5 or 6 pieces in each
combination of different things.
But I mean, like let's just say Ionia, you go to Ionia and there's like, you know, the helmet, your shoulders, your chest, your pants, and your boots, and gloves. They can do all of it, and they could all be parts of your tier set, which allows you to have your 6. You could have like 3 tier sets, right? And then, but you can mix and match. So there's like maybe each tier set does something different. So like there's 6 pieces in each area, and maybe the full 6, if you have them all, has some really cool ability, but doesn't mean it's what you want. You could do 2-4. You could do 2-2-2. You could do like mix and match. Maybe they like and they react with each other. Like maybe there's like certain areas that like works with an ability. What do you Garen? I'm just gonna go spitball. Like you Garen spin. It's not called Garen spin. Maybe there's a spin to win build, right? And there's somewhere in Ionia that has a really good spin ability, but the 4 set doesn't really affect your spin very well. It does something else. But there's another one in Freljord that has a spin ability as well on it. So now I want a little bit of Freljord, a little bit of Ionia, and then now it does like maybe.
So the Ionia adds a wind element to it that like can knock up or whatever.
Anything, whatever they go with.
And then the Freljord applies a freezing debuff to them that hypothetically
they can do whatever they want with the abilities. I mean,
I can see that being really cool.
But that would be a cool way to like, and then it would get a completionist element to where you want to collect all the gear. Even if you're not using it, you want to collect it, put it in your hideout, put it in your home, so you're like you can change your builds whenever you want because you already unlocked abilities. The only thing that's like pigeonholes you is like your faction. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the faction should be like certain faction buffs, right? So like maybe Demacia has more magic defense because they're anti-magic, and they have like, you know, maybe they can find a way, like maybe there's an item that
they
you
have really
equip.
strong defense against magic because
Yeah.
they don't like magic.
Yeah, so
that
like
makes sense.
maybe there's a slot, a rune slot, or whatever they can find for your faction, and you can upgrade that while leveling your faction so it gets stronger. You know, Noxus could have like a frenzy version because they're like berserkers.
They're aggressive.
Well, actually, you'd probably want that with Freljord, actually, because
the Shuriman set would have like heat resistance. The Freljord set would maybe have more cold resistance, and so
I wasn't actually thinking about that, because if you have sorry,
no, you're
good. With the Demacia, it's all magic, so it would be, so that would be, Demacia is a defensive one. Ionia could be a haste buff. You know, it could be tons of little buffs in there. Shuriman could be a magic buff because they have a lot of mages, like Azir and like Xerath. And
hold that thought. Sorry, I really have to pee.
Okay. Pee time. That was a pee.
Delish.
That wasn't the word I was
Relieving.
expecting. There you go. That's better.
Successful.
Delish.
Have you ever tried urine?
No,
it's terrible.
Okay, Bear Grylls over there.
I've never tried my urine.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah.
Unless you're from Alaska.
My son has tried his own.
Oh, I bet he has.
He's not shy about it.
He's not shy about it.
He's very self-aware. It's like, it was funny. One time I just wanted to taste what it like, you know, I tried it and it was gross.
Your son might be hardcore if you maybe outdoors. You're from Alaska, so it's in the genes, dude.
Probably, dude.
The Viking genes.
The Viking genes, dude.
Yeah, but
I'm excited. So, what kind of classes do you think?
Oh, that's the hard part. Right?
Is going to, because like there's a couple of different routes I could envision them going. So it could be you choose your class, traditional, you know, like there's an assassin, there's a warrior, there's a mage, there's an archer. It could go that route, and I would be okay with it. I could also envision them going a more non-traditional approach.
I hope they kind of do that,
where you start out just a bare naked noob, and there's certain things you can level up or whatever. You can choose different weapons, but then you specialize into a certain area, like you're talking about your factions, and then within that faction, maybe there's specializations.
I like that. One thing I was just thinking about for a second when you were talking about that, I'm always just using Demacia as like the easiest, like generic. But like certain factions, I don't think every faction should have necessarily the exact same archetypes. I mean, they could have like a type of mage, a type of range class, a type of like warrior. You know, they could have like the 3 basics, and then they could have like interesting subdivisions of them. So like Demacia can have like the warrior, or you know, like the guardsman or something, because they're more honor, you know, like, so like maybe there's there's different elements, like you can train, or you can learn your abilities from like Fiora, you can learn them from Garen, you can learn them from Jin Zhao. So maybe there's like a couple characters that have different archetypes of the warrior class within there.
Sick.
And then like maybe the tank class, like you can do like you could be a Galio, or you know, something like that. You can like train under them to get like certain stuff. Then you got like Lux, and then like for the mages, and there's tons of characters. Maybe they'd have to add some more depending, but maybe every faction doesn't have to have the same archetypes. Like Demacia could be mainly warrior focused, like honor, like maybe defensive tank warrior, or like some like fencing, you know, something like that. Maybe mages can come from like Shurima, or you know, I mean, maybe but or like some that each have a couple. Maybe there's a mage from Lux 2 in there, but I mean Noxus has like more berserker barbarian-y stuff opposed to knight armory things. Well, you know, more like bloodthirsty build stuff instead of just like defensive. Like
so you could maybe in the beginning you're this bare naked nub. Not actually naked, you know what I mean, though.
Bare naked noob.
And you can go experience different factions and then figure out which one you want to specialize in. Well, or you just choose initially where you want to start.
I think you choose.
Like, I want to start in Ionia because I want to be a Yasuo.
Yeah. You're like a Wuju Blade Master.
I want to be a samurai.
Yeah, samurai. And then you can have different elements. You can have like the Irelia, like kind of more
Yeah.
magic-y melee,
The blades. Yep.
like wind stuff, and like a mid-range assassin, but also maybe a little tankier. Then you can have like the Master Yi /
I really
Yasuo
hope
style.
they go this route.
That would be sick.
That would be awesome, because then even though later on maybe you can like branch out and learn some things from other, but your base class, you have like this, you're rooted, you would have this like connection to the place you started, like Ionia.
It would give you loyalty, and you'd be like sick. You're like, I love being Ionian or something. And that's where doing the quest lines and going to the other areas, you get like I'm just using this example, like support gems in PoE to enhance your abilities somewhere else. So you're Ionian, but you go to Demacia to learn some anti-magic stuff. Or you can go to Freljord to learn some like Berserker ability.
And that's where those quest lines, the RuneScape-like quest lines would come into play. Because you can learn all these things, and maybe you don't have access to certain quest lines, or you have access to it, but it's from a different like point of view, because you're coming from a different area.
That's where a complexity is going to come in from the developers. They're trying to make kind of the best MMO of all time, is what they're saying. And in order to do that, you're going to have to figure out some of the, like, what we're talking about, Javi, just spitballing. But I mean, if they've had a couple versions or like 2 versions of each quest line, if you are Noxus and you're doing your Noxus quest line, it's a little different than if you're someone else coming into Noxus. Like, there's stuff like that. So I mean, they would have to do extra work into that.
And then your player housing would be, like, if you're from Ionia, your player housing would have that aesthetic.
Not necessarily, I don't think, because if it's guild based, then I think they should have a flat aesthetic. I don't think everything should be.
There's quest lines within each area, like Ionia, Demacia, whatever. Once you complete those quest lines with the builders in that area, then you start to, like, you get access to those cosmetics for your housing.
Yeah, they can do something like that. I think when it comes to crafting, I think it should like take you everywhere. Yeah. So like you're crafting in Demacia to learn how to do anti-magic stuff. Like, that's a certain level you need to be able to finish that, and then
you're crafting in Freljord to learn, like
that should be like
Ornn.
That should be the last one, because Ornn's like the biggest. Like he's like the end for crafting, like the end quest or something. But they send you everywhere. Yeah. So like it's like end game stuff. I've already played all the campaigns. Well, let me get my crafting up, and then crafting can have cool like battle stuff too. It doesn't have to be just mining for hours. Like maybe you have to go find this material in this one area, and it's an event that happens when you got the quest, where it's like you're trying to get this resource from this area from where the Darken are, like a really rare material for where the void comes out, and that's a dangerous place, so you want to be high level before you get that crafting. Yeah. They can add so many stuff like that. That'd be sick. So like all the stuff's important.
And kind of like Slayer, or just in like RuneScape in general, when you're going out and doing those things, you could have a gear set that you, through these different quest lines you acquired, that you would never use in a dungeon, but it has a certain benefit towards that particular area. Like, I love in RuneScape how you can actually get these sets of armor that gives your mining a big bonus if you have the full set. Yeah. You would never use that in a dungeon, but it's still a useful thing you can acquire through questing or crafting or whatever. Yeah. That gives you a benefit, so that when you go into those dangerous mines, like the Slayer helm, you could upgrade it so that if you're fighting a poison monster, you could upgrade the mask so that you have poison resistance. And
okay, things like that. I can see if it's like something small. I really don't like the mechanic where they make you put on full new gear sets for a certain location. So, but that's my personal.
I don't think you need. It should be something where you have to. I think it's only something that
small edge.
If you want to have a little bit of an edge, a little bit more survivability in this certain area, then you can.
Yeah, that could be cool. They'd have to balance it to where it's beneficial but not broken. And if it's not necessary, then like I feel like most people would just not do it. So they'd have to find a sweet spot for something.
Like if you're going around and like I've always liked that, because I like collecting and like achieving things that are if you know me, you know how much I like convenience.
Well,
I will go out of my way to make something be more convenient.
Hear me out. They can do a system that's a zone. Like, let's just say that's a zone that's a hard level, like higher level area that you end up completing, right? There's a quest there, whatever, but there's end game content that sends you there all the time. You've completed that quest, but that doesn't mean that's over, right? There could be like events going around the world you want to go for some loot. this is where I think they can use the Rise rune system. You know, Rise uses the runes of worlds runes. When you get an area, you might get the world rune or something that gives you like a bonus in that area or lets you complete or something like that. So like you go turn on your rune, you're like, oh, I need to go grab my rune over there instead of a gear switch. That's where my brain goes. They could both be cool, but like you could have like a rune socket that gives you those bonuses, but that allows you to keep the gear that you want. Because I want my gear attached to the way my playstyle is. I love that. Abilities are great. You want abilities, but your gear enhances your abilities. Because that's my favorite. The reason ARPGs are my favorite is because of the loot system. I love that cool loot. I want a little bit of ARPG in an MMO. I feel like would be just like king. So being able to switch out like a sub, like maybe in your belt you have a rune slot or like something. That's where my brain goes. The gear might be cool too. To me, I lean a little less on the gear, but I know you like the gear, so that could be cool too.
I would love to if some of the legendary drops was like RuneScape, where in like the Abyssal Whip.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? Or like like I finally got this drop, this legendary sword. That'd be sick. And there's maybe like certain dungeons or raids in certain areas that have like if I was a samurai from from Ionia, I wanted my biggest chase piece was this legendary samurai sword that only dropped in the ice caverns of Freljord in this raid or something like that. That would be so sick.
And the sword fits your playstyle, which is why you want that one.
Yeah.
So like you could also get like not like any weapon from like the lore from the characters, but like you could get like a darkened blade. Or like a baby darkened blade that has a little darken in it. And that changes your whole play style of where sometimes you might cast abilities you didn't mean to because it's like maybe the darken's coming out, but you get a big buff. Like something aesthetic, like something like that could be sick.
And it's a build defining item.
Yeah. Well, they can have that everywhere. You know, they can keep adding stuff build defining, like aesthetic. Like you can go to Targon, you can get the sun and moon god. Which one do you want to go in? Well, the sun and moon, the moon has these cool like bleed thing. I'm thinking for some reason like a bear druid from World of Warcraft with the moonbeam. Like there's stuff like that, and then there's the sun one that has some fiery stuff, and then like all these realms have certain sets. They keep coming out with sets that you can keep interchanging, and new builds come out every set.
And it motivates you to collect.
Yep.
Because you can build different things. Like you can try like, oh, I got the darkened sword, and I really want this tier set piece from Noxus or Tsurima. And it like instead of like new expansions completely negating the old gear, it's just adding options,
more and more options,
and cosmetics, and because those things are
What if they had the linear, like we were talking about earlier, like it doesn't scale up. Everything's like this. What gets harder is zones are hard, so certain areas are higher density. You need to be able to kill more faster, but their HP might be a little bit more because you need to have a defined guild with build with gems and stuff like that. But like the zones and the bosses are hard by mechanics, not by damage numbers. So you want to do a boss, you could solo a boss if you wanted to, but having 3 or 4 people is going to make it so much. But maybe it's an hour boss solo or like a 30-minute boss solo, and you keep adding people, and it makes it that would be sick because then you could play solo if you wanted to. But everything's got
that's like RuneScape.
Yeah.
Like there's some bosses you can go in and you can solo it. It's very difficult, so you want to have your summoning level up so that you have a summoner so that you can carry enough of these. You got to have your cooking and things level up, and your potion, your herbalism leveled up so you can have these potions to. There's all these tools that you use in RuneScape to like make yourself stronger so you're able to take on these bosses, and it's easier with people, but you can still solo them. It's just a lot of all these layers that make it really satisfying coming together.
And as long as they don't make it like unreal complicated, which from what we're describing, it doesn't sound complicated at all to me. That you could have like a database that shows you like after you complete a zone where the gear there, and you're like, ooh, and then you can have like a little theory crafting area. They can do something like that where you put these together and you see the bonuses. Like, would that work together? Because like I said, I'm literally just thinking ARPG MMO have a baby because I love. Like, that's the thing with the ARPGs when you're making a build. Like, it's fun to make a build. When you're set class of World of Warcraft, you have to play this because this is meta. If they had set builds and numbers, there would be a way to make it balanced. because it would be, instead of numbers based, it's all like, oh, this one's a little overperforming, let's bring that down a little bit. The monsters aren't getting stronger HP wise. Maybe there's a hard boss that has a little more HP, you know, or something like that, but you can still, nothing's scaling infinitely. It scales once you get all your sockets filled and all that stuff. That's the highest scaling.
Well, and it's absolutely possible because that is what RuneScape has done. You know, evergreen content, like,
it's great.
You know, and yeah, certain bosses have certain mechanics that maybe you want your XYZ skill leveled up enough so that you can do XYZ to have this, like, you know, this benefit so that you can more easily do the boss.
Or you can have a teammate that builds a certain way to protect his team. So, like, if you like being a support player, you don't want to do much damage, you can find, like, there could be elements to where you can just reduce people's damages from certain elements, or, you know, just like making supports really cool and strong. Like, maybe supports are the only ones that have, like, some hard CC, you know, and then maybe like a boss has like a really hard, like, CC breaker where you can CC them every once in a while, you know. But, like, if he's about to do a big ability, like, a support can use, like, their ultimate to do a quick stun to knock it. Maybe he does his ability in a minute or 20 seconds from now, but supports can feel impactful where they're not doing damage and not necessarily healing, or they can heal a little bit or something, but they're mainly, like, keeping you alive,
like putting a spirit link down for like a really big ability, you know what I mean?
Something like cool like that, like your special ability. Maybe that ability comes from a tier set.
Yeah.
Or because the gear, you're like, ooh, this one's got that.
Or a quest line.
Quest line. Well, you have to do, I think you should have to do the complete quest lines to unlock the gear in an area. Maybe there now have to be 6 hours. I said that earlier. But I mean, like, it would be cool to make the quests entertaining, like a solo game, like fun that. And then you have openings.
It would give you that solo play that a lot of people like. And then you have... I do also want to have some kind of a system that's like a Mythic Plus system, because I really loved that in World of Warcraft.
Some sort of competitive.
Some sort of competitive ranked Mythic Plus system that you don't have to do, but you want to do.
Well, it's
like fun.
You, like I said, the Targon, you can implement that to the Targon. There could be, like, you know, your random dungeon cosmetic one, and there could be a Mythic Plus version where, like, if you beat it once, you get the key. Key doesn't deplete. I hate that, but it's fun to get a key, and then it keeps stacking infinitely, just damage wise, because eventually you're gonna hit a plateau, because we're not talking about stat numbers. We're talking about builds and skill. Getting your build will take a bit, but once you get it, that's clicky and you like it. Maybe you're bored, you go do more quests in another area. Now I gotta go work to get this other stuff.
I love that, and I love that for a lot of reasons. One reason being is you are able to let your friends come and play with you. Yep. Because it's not necessarily gear dependent, but skill dependent.
Skill dependent.
So yeah, they've got their gear, and they're able to come and, like,
do some
wipe
stuff
on a lot of bosses, but learn the mechanics and then start being able to do it. But they don't have to grind countless hours to get good enough gear just to be able to play with you.
Yeah, they just have to do some campaign stuff, whatever.
Learning some skills. It's like, I like that.
And you don't need, like, the gems shouldn't be like 50% damage bonus or anything. They should just be like, oh, this ability now leaves a fire on the ground that has a certain base amount of damage that's done, or, you know, whatever, anything they can do. It's all scaled within the right amount of damage, and that means they never have to deal with crazy broken stuff very much. I mean, it might come out some combos and they might have to adjust them, but because it's not infinite scaling stats, it's going to be, like, a lot easier to kind of, you know, keep balanced, dude.
I've always said, if World of Warcraft and RuneScape had a baby, and Riot was the ones to make that baby, that would be just perfect.
I'm thinking more RuneScape and PoE have a baby.
I could see that. By World of Warcraft, I mean, like, the Mythic Plus system.
Oh yeah, little elements for sure.
I mean, and the smoother combat, and how impactful abilities are and feel, and how healing in World of Warcraft is. I've never experienced that in any other game. Healing is so fun to play in World of Warcraft. That's the kind of things that I would like to see brought into the Riot MMO. Not necessarily the tab target system. It can be something else, but a fluid, really good impact feeling combat system.
Yeah, I mean, they can make the supports feel like League of Legends supports in a way. I mean, like, there's really impactful abilities. Like I said, if you make supports do more, like, stun stuff, like more CC lockdown. Imagine, like I said, a boss doing a big mechanic. You have this long cooldown stun you're waiting for, one on the boss. DPS phase, he's about to do ability. Boom, you knock it out of him. You get an extra 20 seconds, and your team, you're like, thanks, dude. You know, it's like, that's very important. So now, you know, like, they make healing or supporting important, but not necessarily required. because like you should be able to go in 5 DPS if everyone can dodge everything. But a
So-
tank would be better. But if no one wants to play a tank, you don't have to find a random person. You can
I
play
like
with all
that.
your friends. You could technically play 5 supports, kill a boss, take forever, but it never does. You know, like there could be
Yeah.
like that element of damage is balanced to be the best when it comes to damage numbers. Like damage should do the most damage. Tanks should not do as much as DPS, you know, but tanks take more damage and maybe have a way of self-healing a little bit. And then like a support has small healing, but nothing like 0 to 100, like something that allows it to be balanced and you don't need a meta. I hate meta.
Yeah.
I want this game to be the most anti-meta. Like there's always going to be a meta because people are going to find Theorycraft the best. But if they can, with this element without the scaling stats, this one's the best, but it's 5% better than the rest. You know, like something obtainable.
Because you do want stuff that you want to work towards attaining. You know what I mean? But again, if it's going to give you a 5% damage boost, it's not like you absolutely have to have it, but you want it.
and maybe what they could do for getting, instead of like getting the quest line, you don't get the gear or whatever for the area. Each area has like a shop, and you need to do raids to get like marks. Like World of Warcraft did the mark system. You turn in the mark for a piece of gear that you want. So you get a mark from this raid or this hard dungeon rare drop that you got, and now you get to go. You have to be at a certain reputation for each of the factions, which makes you do the quest line to unlock the shop to purchase. But you're like, ooh, I'm gonna go get the tier set from Ionia right now. I just got this piece. I've been waiting to go get those gloves. You know, like you go over there, but you had to put the time in Ionia first.
You had to do the work of doing the quest line to get the rep, but
that's
then you
where
can
the
use
beginning.
that token.
Yep, to get your stuff. You know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, it could be like a way of, instead of having you, I mean, it just makes it not as easy to get your gear, essentially, instead of just doing the quest line, getting your gear now, because you want to chase. You do want some stuff to chase it. So
yeah,
the currency is a good way to do that. New raid comes out, you get your, maybe there's, well, I guess dungeons can have tier sets too. I don't know. That would be something, because if we're talking about factions having the tier sets, then what would the dungeons and raids have besides like cosmetic stuff? You know,
yeah.
Because then you kind of run into that problem.
I mean, there could be pieces of gear that are not tied to tier sets, like rings and belts or amulets and weapons.
Maybe weapons could be like
capes.
Oh yeah, like little small stuff like that. Maybe you got your main tier set. Weapons would be a good way to put into like dungeon stuff. Like you get raids and dungeons, you get weapons and like stuff like that. Or,
yeah,
they could do tons of stuff. Maybe clearing a raid drops a gem. Maybe they drop gems, like where they have like gems for your like it enhances your abilities. Like, oh, this would work so well. It's a rare drop. The last boss drops this, so it would just make my fire things explode, or just something like that. So now you're chasing that item, So it could be like that. That could be cool.
That would be
because it would be to have something else than just gear from dungeons, like you said, gems, and maybe like side pieces that you need or something. That could be kind of cool.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
We definitely recommend checking out some of the YouTubers. His name is Necrit, I think. Necrit.
Yeah. Everything Riot.
If you're into Riot, the MMO, just like we are, like we like to dream and think about the possibilities.
Theorycraft.
I love his channel. He goes into some really in-depth stuff about the Shreeman or the lore.
The lore,
and then he has some really cool.
Yep. He's lore, Riot MMO. Those are probably his biggest. And then he'll talk about updates on League of Legends and stuff like that, like hot topics of what's going on with Riot. But he's the biggest YouTuber for League.
I think that would be cool. Like, if there was this like progressive tower with like Pantheon.
Oh yeah.
Like, because his whole thing,
he traversed the tower and enslaved Aurelian Soul.
Dude, if there was some kind of like I don't know if you would do it like a tower.
You could.
Type. With like some kind of dungeon, like progressive dungeon to get to the top.
Or they could do that the Immortal Bastion, which is the Mordekaiser and Noxus could be the infinite like dungeon down instead of up. Targon could be something else. And then like you can have the dark souls of all the Mordekaiser's victims down there, but there's like something cool. Maybe that's like a season where Mordekaiser's the big bad in the raid or whatever that they come out with, but they also come out with the infinite scaling, like kind of like Torghast or something, where it's like you get augments from like twos or something like that makes you stronger and it's fun, and there's some
Yeah.
cosmetics, good cosmetics.
I actually enjoyed some of the elements of Torghast.
I did too. It just wasn't playability long enough. Like
Yeah.
something that makes you like, boys, let's do some Immortal Bastion today.
Do you remember that one round we did where we got? It was I think you were a shaman and I wasn't. I was a.
You rather priest?
No, I was
hunter.
And we just got the perfect augments and stuff, and we were just wrecking.
Dude, the healing rain one was just stupid.
That was awesome.
With the infinite taunting, the
on your elemental. Yeah, so dude.
Dumb.
That was epic.
Yeah, that was fun. Stuff like that's fun. Like something that allows you to go crazy, like an infinite scaling thing. The farther you get down, the crazier you get, and the harder everything gets. That's just fun content for everybody.
And if there's something at the end that you want to get, like a cosmetic or an epic item or something,
I think
like
it's all cosmetic with that kind of stuff.
I think, I agree. But you just things like that would. I like to have chase items.
Yeah.
That are difficult, but then once you get them, you're like,
yeah. And it could be like
the mage tower. You know?
That like cool skins and stuff. They could do transmog, I guess, if they're adding that element. Transmog could be cool if they're doing all that, as long as it's not paid for.
Right.
But I mean, like at the end of the Immortal Bastion, there could just be like this epic, like shadowy, dark soul, like Mordekaiser skins with weapons and stuff. And you go to the end, and there's small chances for each piece and stuff, you know. So it's like one. Well, actually, it doesn't end, right? So it'd be like maybe a currency system or something that allows you to work towards it consistently, not too much RNG. Yeah. That could be. There's so much stuff, dude.
We're excited,
honestly,
man.
Talking about that, I want it to be the way we said it, but I mean, they're gonna find something awesome.
Oh yeah,
right. If you're listening, let us know if those are some decent ideas. I mean, you guys probably already know what you're doing. But this sounds sick. We should AI's come. We should make our own game in like 20 years.
Yeah.
Riot just a Grok maker game. I know. God, dude, yeah. So excited for the Riot MMO.
Yeah, man.
Talking about forever. Well,
I'm surprised at how tight they've been. Has there been any leaks at all?
Oh, they're still early development. So I mean, like they haven't. I don't even know what their animated is going in. They're just talking about. They've talked about timelines. There's a lot of hiring posts coming out, you know, but there's nothing like directly. Obviously, Nickrate will probably get something when anything comes out. He'll like say something immediately, right? But we're just kind of in the dark. But they said hopefully before 2028 was he did a video or interview or something, and the guy said, is it going to be before 2028? He's like, I hope so. So it seemed like it might be maybe 2027, maybe the end of 2027 is the kind of the goal. We'll see. Or just by 2028. Yeah.
We're hoping. Comment below anything that you guys think the Riot MMO should have.
Sick ideas.
We'd love to hear your ideas. We love talking about and dreaming about it.
We're dreamers.
So if you're excited, let us know. Tell us your input on what you think it should have and what you think it should be like.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. It could be infinite, and hopefully it's amazing, and where we don't have to play another video game ever.
Yeah,
that's my dream. It's not gonna happen, but I just cope,
for sure.
So
coping beyond cope, dude.
Get him, Cap. Let him burn.
Boom, baby.
Let him burn.
Boom, baby.
Let him burn.
Boom, baby.
Get him, Cap. Cap.